Okay, today we're going to talk about moving database files. Now there are a couple ways to move database files. You can either alter database or you can do a detach and reattach. The two are very similar, and in most instances there's not really going to be much difference. They both code perfectly well. They're both equally resilient. You can do different things with them. But I think ultimately they're going to be used in different situations. Now I use the alter database command every time because it works every time. There's never a case where alter database doesn't work and detach and reattach works. They're really for two different things, and I think that alter database gives some newbies a little bit stronger sense of security because the database never actually goes away. You can always see it in SMS and drop data, and the detached database goes away, and the files don't go away, but the database disappears from SMS, and that makes some people nervous. And they're really used for a couple different things. Alter database is specifically used for moving the data files, and the detach method is actually used for being able to move a database to another server, but it can also be used to move the data files. So here, I'll go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. First of all, I'm going to start with this guy right here for a very specific reason. Now if I come here to tasks, that's where it is, and detach. So I've got one active connection to this database, which I can drop. Now, I want to go ahead and script this so we can talk about it because it's the same thing. There we go. Okay, so when you tell it to drop the connections, all it does is it sets the database in single user mode with rollback immediate. And all that tells it is any work that the current SPIDs are doing, go ahead and roll it back immediately. Don't wait for the work to finish. Roll it back immediately, and go ahead and set the database in single user mode. And hopefully that's going to be your current connection, right? So after that, it does an SP Detach DB. You just pass it the name of the database and whether or not you want it to specifically run the skip check. Now the skip check itself is actually whether or not you're going to run update statistics. And you notice how here it's set to false by default, and that's a little misleading because it's called skip checks. So that means, do you want it to skip these checks? No, I don't want it to skip these checks, which means it's going to run update statistics, which could take quite a while on some of the larger databases. So if you don't want that, and if you know that your database is fine, stats are fine, absolutely everything's fine, go ahead and tell that true, and it'll happen much faster. So if we go ahead and run this right now, and this is just gonna detach the database, and all that's really doing is it's removing that metadata from sys databases. It's just removing those lines out of sys databases. You notice how I left the skip checks in there. Okay, and here it is, it finished, and you notice how I'm getting my updates here, right? Okay, so with that now, let's say I want to move it here. So all I do is I take these guys and move them there now. Yes, I'm on Vista, so everything causes the little screen to come up. Okay, so now my database files are in here. So now all I need to do is attach. It's going to take it a second here. There we go. Notice how it comes up in that one. And here's the folder I'm looking for. You specify the MDF. I double clicked on it. Here it comes up. Make sure that you specify the owner here, and you've got both of them down here, and it sees it just fine. Again, I'm going to go ahead and script it because I like that. There we go. And now I can see what the script command looks like. And everything is good. Okay. There we go. And if I refresh this guy, then there's good sub again. Hopefully pointing to the new location. And there it is, right there, the new location. I could also say, I'll get rid of this, I could also say file if I'm in that database. There we go. And I can get the full path to the files there. Okay, so that's one way. That's using the detach and reattach method. Now, like I said, there are situations where you won't be able to detach a database. If the database is being replicated, or if it belongs to a mirroring session, or a few other things that you can see in BOL, I'm sure. So if I were to try to detach this database, you see here it says not ready, and it says database replicated. So the database is in replication and cannot be detached. So yeah, you can't detach a database; it's being replicated. But you can still move the files if you find that you need to tune your data files for one reason. You need to separate your data and logs, or you just need to move them to a different drive altogether because you're running out of space. For whatever reason, you can still do it with a replicated database or a mirrored database. You just need to do an alter database. And then modify file, parentheses, name equals, file name equals. There. Now, I left these blank because I don't know what these are yet, but I wanted to get the structure down. Now, if I were to do a check on this, it's going to fail because it checks and it sees that these guys are empty here, right? So what I have to do is I have to come in here, do an SP help file, hit F5, and now this is the logical name, so I'm just going to paste that. And then I want the physical name right there. No, this is the same direction. This is the same location, right? So all I have to do is specify the new location. I'm going to put it in the same folder here with these other ones. And you can only do one file at a time. So as I come here and do that, it's been modified in the system catalog. So all it's really done is change the location of the file in the sys databases. So I've done that file. Now it's time to do the other one. Come over here and get this. That right there. Actually, all I need from that is this tutorial underscore log LDF. Okay, so it's in the new location, it's the right name. There we go. So it's actually pointing to the new location now, but there's nothing being done with it. I can't do anything with it just yet. So what I have to do now is I have to take it offline. Now this will probably fail or it'll time out, and the reason is because I've still got open connections, and you can't take a database offline if you've got open connections still. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, and I'm just going to do this the easy way right now. I'll bring up Activity Monitor right there, and I'll kill this guy right here. Maybe that's me. Yes, kill that process. And let's do this the other way now. Let's set offline. can't, that wasn't me. So I'll come over here, refresh. I'll do let's see what we got here. Let's do by object. Process. Fine. I'll just kill this guy. This was supposed to be the easy way. Next time I'll write some code to do this. Let's see if I've caught it yet. Nope. Fine. Maybe all the way down here. Process. 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 Okay, let's see if I got it this time. Yep, looks like I killed this one. There we go, and it's set offline. And you can see that right here, that it's set offline. Now that was a long way to do that. I was only expecting to have to do one or two, but like I said, next time I'll pull out some code to do that instead. Okay, so I've got my data file moved over, or I've got my pointer moved over. Now I have to do the actual data file, because this doesn't move the file for you, it just allows you to point it someplace else. So I come here, I'll highlight these two, move those into that folder. Yes, 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 just do it. There we go. And now set back to multi-user. Refresh this guy. And did I forget my... Yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't set it down. Oh. It looks like we have a nice little thing here. Let's see. Cannot find the file specified SSIS tutorial.mdf. Well, let's see what we did with the data file then. SSIS tutorial.mdf. Tutorial log.mdf. Let's see now. Oh, there's the problem. I see it. You see here I did SSISU tutorial and SSISU tutorial instead of SSIS tutorial. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead of doing all that again, I'm just going to go put a U in here. Hello. There we go. SSISU tutorial. There we go. Let's see if that gets it. There we go. And we're back online. So I wanted to show you in a minute that you could actually use this to change the file names as well, but I ended up showing you this time. So there you go. So, you know, if you're moving it to a directory, say, that has another database, another copy of the data files already, and you want to change the name of the data file, say that you've got a, you know, say I've got my SSIS tutorial and my SSIS tutorial dev or QA or something like that, or with a specific date on it, and you just don't want to move the files around a lot, then you can change the file name, and you can detach the database, change the file name, take it offline, copy the other files in, and then just keep changing your database files as you need to, right? So in this folder with this, you know, if I had another copy of this database, say I restored another copy of this database, I wouldn't have to change the the names of the files as I restored them, because I could just rename these files and I could keep all of the different versions of the database in the same folder. That's one reason you might do something like that. And on dev systems, that's kind of important. Or the nature of the database may have changed. This happens a lot when you've got a dev database. So you name something like tutorial dev, and then it goes straight into production, and they just copy the database over there with all the data, and it still says dev. It's kind of a sloppy naming convention to name something in production dev. So you may want to change your database file names, which you could physically do here. If you wanted to do an attach on the other side, then you could physically do that here, right? You could just change these and then just attach the new file names. And as long as we're at it, these files don't have to have extensions at all. I don't have to put .mdf on there or LDF. They could be completely extensionless, or you can give them some other nonsensical extension. SQL doesn't have to have the name MDF on there. That's just kind of for us, and obviously for file association purposes. But if you wanted to create a database that had files without extensions or with funky extension, .prod or .dev, .test, .qa, you could do that. It doesn't, SQL doesn't care, in other words. So there you go. That's how to move database files. One more thing real quick. It may seem logical that you would be able to come in here and change the files in here, but it's not possible. When you click on it here, I'm double clicking on both of these. When you click on it here, nothing happens. So there is no GUI way to change the location or the file names of existing files. You can add them all day long, but you can't change them. So for doing this kind of thing, you pretty much have to do it in code. And again, the difference between the detach and the alter is the alter will allow you to move database files for replicated databases and mirrored databases and the like. And pretty much everything has to be perfect in order to detach and reattach a database. And that's all I've got.